Hello, everybody. In this video, we have Pete Buttigieg up against former President Donald Trump. So Pete Buttigieg is one thing he's lacking, and that's incumbency advantage. That's the advantage Joe Biden has going into the 2024 election. I do think Pete Buttigieg is a pretty good speaker. That I think he could. I think he'll struggle with populist voters. I don't really think he'll be seen as a populist candidate. I think he'd be more seen as a more elitist Democrat, just based on how he ran in the Democratic primary as a more moderate, just centrist candidate. I really don't think that would appeal that well to populist voters like someone like Bernie Sanders would. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the first state, Colorado, is safe blue. Virginia, New Mexico, I think they'll probably go down to likely blue margins. I don't think Pete Buttigieg would do too badly in these states considering how democratic they are. Even in Nebraska second, I think he would do quite well here. It's a suburban district. I think he would do decent here. However, Iowa and Ohio, I just have these as safe red states. I don't think Pete Buttigieg has a lot of populist appeal here, so I just don't really see him doing that well in these two states. The state of Florida, honestly, at this point, I don't think Pete Buttigieg would do amazing in the southern states. He didn't even do well with black voters or Latino voters back in the Democratic primary, so I really don't see him getting a lot of turnout among those voter groups. I just don't think he'll do well in Florida, and I have this as a safe red state. Trump victory by about 10% here. In the state of Texas, I don't really think he would do well here either. I think Trump would probably win here by a bit more than his 2020 margin, like a 7% victory. The state of Alaska I would also have as a safe red state. I don't think he would do too well in a rural state like this one. Moving on to North Carolina and Georgia, again, he just doesn't turn out black voters or Latino voters that well, especially in these two states, which are very reliant on turnout from them. So I have North Carolina and Georgia both going as lean Republican states for Donald Trump. Up in the states of Maine and New Hampshire, I would probably put these both as. I think New Hampshire I'd probably put as a likely blue state. I think Pete Buttigieg would perform well here based on how well he did in the Democratic primary. I think he would do well with those types of voters. In the state of Maine, I would probably put this as a lean blue state because it's a bit more of a rural state. I don't think Buttigieg would do the best in a rural state like Maine. I also have Maine second going as a safe Republican district. Moving on to Arizona and Nevada, I would probably put Nevada. I'd probably put it as about tilt Republican. I can see Pete Buttigieg maybe having a chance here, but again, I think he would struggle with Latino turnout in this state, so I have this going as a narrow Trump state. The state of Arizona, I could also see that hurting Pete Buttigieg, especially with Latino turnout here. But then again, there's a lot of independent voters that really dislike Trump in this state. But I still think Pete Buttigieg would narrowly lose out in the state of Arizona by a tilt Republican margin. In the state of Minnesota, I still think this state would end up going to Pete Buttigieg at the end of the day. But the state of Wisconsin, it being a more populous state, I think Pete Buttigieg wouldn't really do that well here. Plus, he doesn't have incumbency advantage like Joe Biden does, so he loses it by more than he does here. Michigan and Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure Michigan is Pete Buttigieg's current home state. I think he just... Let's check it out. I'm going to just make sure to Google it on my phone. Pete Buttigieg home state. It used to be Indiana's home state, but I'm pretty sure he moved to the state of Michigan. But since he's like newly just moved there, would home state advantage really translate over there? Kind of just doubt it at this point. Let's see. Yeah, he is in Michigan now. So he did leave the state of Indiana. Michigan's a pretty tough call because a lot of that margin here when why Biden's a bit down in this state is due to a situation in Gaza. So Pete Buttigieg wouldn't have that baggage as much as Biden does. But then again, does Pete Buttigieg really turn out enough voters here? I'd probably put it as a narrow tilt margin just for Pete Buttigieg, but he barely wins it. And in the state of Pennsylvania, I think he probably loses to Donald Trump here just because he just doesn't have that populist appeal. But I think he'll keep it close just due to independent voters. He is a decent speaker, so I think he would do okay in the debates. So it's a narrow Trump victory overall, but I kind of just don't see a path for Pete Buttigieg to win. I think maybe a potential path would maybe be winning Arizona and Pennsylvania for him, because it is just narrow victories for Trump here. But this is kind of just how I see it. If it was Pete Buttigieg versus Donald Trump, a narrow Trump electoral victory here. But other than that, if you're new to the channel, highly recommend subscribing if you enjoy political videos like this one. And let me know down in the comments below any video recommendation ideas, because I'm always open to suggestions here. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.